Okay, everybody, let's get started. First, thank you so much for attending. We have a great lineup. We have a great speaker, John Huco, the CEO of Rotary International. We'll introduce him later. And we have some great awards for Utah Rotary clubs and Rotarians. We'll hear from several people. We'll hear from District Governor-elect Linda near the end of the meeting, and right after Linda speaks, we'll announce our new District Governor nominee designate, and then we'll adjourn. So let's get started. I'm gonna turn it over first to Judy Zone and Scott Florence if he can connect in time. And Judy is our District Governor nominee and the current Chief of Staff. Scott Florence is our incoming membership chair for the district. Judy is going to give out the under 40 Rotary Citation Awards for our district, and Scott has some membership growth awards to give out. So go right ahead, Judy.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. It's 126 participants. I wish I could see all your faces. It's a new world we live in now. But anyway, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about this very unique experiment we did this year. It was pretty successful. I want to give props to past District Governor Bev Christie, who hopefully is present. I think she was the first one to start to think about how we could attract young people under 40. U40 stands for under 40. And she worked with past District Governor Mike Wells, who was also our youth chair, still is our youth chair. And then District Governor John Hanrahan really made attracting young people to Rotary a goal for this year. And so a good 8 months of this year was taken up with a number of clubs participating in this U40 citation initiative. The first thing we did was we had a focus group of young people. And you want to go to the next slide, Devin? Okay, so the magical question was, what works to attract younger members? We had a focus group of almost 10 to 12 former Rotarians, younger folks, who talked about, you know, why they left, what was not working. And so from those ideas, we reached out to all Utah Rotary clubs, asked them if they would like to participate in this experiment to try to, you know, try out some of these ideas that this focus group had come up with. And the clubs did that, as well as some new ideas. So I really want to thank the clubs that participated. They each got a $1,000 in social media marketing consulting from Social 5. And the names of the Rotary clubs are on your screen: Cedar City, Dixie Sunrise, Kaysville, Layton, Mid-Valley, Mill Creek, Ogden, Roosevelt, Salt Lake, Tooele, and West Jordan. It was really fun to work with all these clubs. They worked really hard. They had to not only try out the ideas, but they had to report monthly on the ideas, and then write up a final report that is now in summary form on our website. And we'll get to that in a minute. But before we go to the next slide, I just want to give you guys some statistics that you may not understand. So we did have a club culture survey recently, and I'm very proud to say that 100% of our 45 clubs participated, responded to a whole number of questions. Really important part of that was the ages of our Rotarians in our state. Clubs do not report this on My Rotary and Rotary Club Central, so it's the first time we've really had a handle on that. So we're happy to report that 11% of the Rotarians in the state of Utah are under 40. That's the good news. Maybe we thought we had fewer, than 11%. But then, you know, good news, but also not that great news, is that 65% of our Rotarians are over 50 and 43% are over 60. So why is that bad news? Because, you know, we're not going to be around forever and we need to kind of replenish our stock, hence the U40 citation initiative. So Devin, if you could go to the next slide. So the results of this experiment were that 8 of the 11 clubs reported attracting new members between 2 and 10 using the following strategies. There were other strategies, but this was the one that basically people had. There were dual Rotaract memberships. Many of you know what that is. That's kind of when a Rotaractor pays minimum $10 a month to belong to Rotary as well. Evening socials are a great strategy because many young people, even older people, are available in the evening. A lot of clubs revised dues structure, basically making it more affordable. Increased service. Service is really important for all of us, but young people seem to be super interested in that. Revamping meeting structure to dial down formality and make it more collaborative and, you know, fewer program speakers. Listening to your club about what they feel is working and not working. In other words, examining club culture. And revising new member orientations so that right from the start, a person of any age is more connected to your club. Okay, next slide, Devin. We had some really important lessons learned that the clubs shared. And these are things that, you know, not rocket science. Whenever you're instituting change in an institution, super important. Open communication, discussion, careful planning, keeping your members informed and enlisted, and a lot of really good cross-generational conversation. I'm not going to read all these quotes. If you're listening and not seeing the slide, basically there's a quote from Mikhail Despain from Roosevelt Club, Becky Payne from Kaysville Club, and Mike Branham from Dixie Sunrise, basically talking about thinking out of the box, evaluating your club's programs, procedures, you know, what's working, what isn't working on a regular basis, and understanding that change takes time. If you'd like to see the whole summary report, it's on our website on the membership development page under Utah Rotarians, the top line navigation. So I'm done, John. Is Scott on board?
I don't think he is in the panel. So if you could.
I'll go through what he did.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, great. So you want to go to the next slide, Devin? So this is Scott Florence. He's our district membership chair starting July 1 during District Governor-elect Linda's year. And Scott did a study of Utah Rotary membership best practices using information from clubs that had net growth over the last 12 years. So, you know, as a district, we've been losing members. We've gained some this year, which is awesome. I don't know exactly how many, but I think over 30. But just clubs that have been steadily growing. He kind of had them write some reports. So if you go to the next slide, Devin, want to give props to these clubs and those of you who can't, who are just listening and not viewing the slide. I'll just say the club names. Bountiful, 19 members up over 12 years. Cedar City, up 2 members. Centerville Farmington, up 2 members. Dixie Sunrise, up 7. Park City, up 11. Park City Sunrise, they're the overachiever with 52 members over the last 12 years. Red Rock with 3 new members. Net growth. Springville with 4. Tooele Valley with 7. And West Jordan with 12 new members over the last 12 years. So that's awesome, and congratulations to those clubs. And then they reported some of their best practices. If we'll go to the next slide, Devin. The clubs reported having similar things than what we saw with the U40, the under 40 citation initiative experiment, having really fun and engaging service projects, fun and interesting meetings, members personally inviting others to join, flexibility and trying new ideas, meeting formats and times, such as those evening meetings that we were talking about, and also more socials. And we've lost the slide, Devin. There you go. And having, like we talked about with the U40 citation, immediate engagement of new members, whether that be through orientation or leadership roles. So this report is also on the membership development page of the Rotary website. Just click on Utah Rotarians and you'll see the menu there. So congratulations to these clubs for doing really good work in not only retaining members, but in growing membership in a time when we've lost a lot. So anyway, that's it.
Okay, great. Thanks very much, Judy. We're going to move on to immediate past governor and our district foundation chair, Scott Leckman, who is going to present a well-deserved reward.
Thank you, Governor John. Governor John has given me the honor of presenting the citation for meritorious service. And what this award does is recognize individual Rotarians who have demonstrated outstanding active service to the Rotary Foundation. And I'm not sure if we've ever awarded this to anyone, not in my memory. But our winner engaged his club in global grants beginning more than 15 years ago. And for the last 3.5 years, he's served as chair of the Global Grants Committee for our district. He's put in countless hours of service. He's been a tireless, dependable, and invaluable resource to our district's Rotarians. He's very deserving of this award, and the recipient is Andy Dahman.
Yay.
Well, I have to say, I definitely did not expect that at all. I was an AG this year, along with kind of overseeing global grants, and I can't say that I was the best AG, but I had really great clubs that did great service, and I just have to say thank you very much, and it's an honor. So it's a great privilege to be part of the district. So thank you very much.
Well, Andy, thank you very much for everything you've done. I would amend one thing, Scott. We do have actually a long history of our Rotarians in Utah receiving this award. So that info is on our website if someone wants to check it out, but I don't have it in front of me right now. So let's move right into our keynote speaker. I'll do an introduction. Before I do, John is going to try to leave some time for a Q&A. And what you can do if you have a question is put it in the chat room. And Devin, if you can monitor that for questions and lump them together or pick out some good ones, if there's time, we'll do that. So
may I, John, just suggest that we ask people to use the Q&A for questions and chat for chatting with one another, which is healthy. But I'll clear the questions. Sorry, just a suggestion.
That sounds great. Let's do that. Okay. John Huco is the General Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of Rotary International and the Rotary Foundation. From 2004 to 2009, Huco was Vice President for Operations and Compact Development for the Millennium Challenge Corporation, a U.S. government agency established to deliver foreign assistance to the world's poorest countries. He was a principal negotiator for the U.S. for foreign assistance agreements to 26 countries, negotiating agreements totaling over $6 billion in 18 countries for a variety of infrastructure and projects. Prior to joining the MCC, Hugo was an international partner with the law firm Baker & McKenzie, specializing in international corporate transactions in emerging markets. While working in Ukraine in the early 90s, Hugo assisted the working group that prepared the initial draft of the new Ukrainian post-Soviet constitution and was a charter member of the first Rotary Club in Kiev. Hugo has been a public policy scholar at the Woodrow Wilson International Center for Scholars, an adjunct professor of law at Georgetown University, and a visiting scholar at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. He's spoken extensively on political and business issues dealing with the former Soviet Union and many countries. He's also a member of the Council of Foreign Relations. Hugo holds a law degree from Harvard University, a master's in modern history from Oxford, where he also studied as a Marshall Scholar, and a bachelor's in government and Soviet studies from Hamilton College in New York. As General Secretary of Rotary International, Hugo leads a diverse staff of 800 in Evanston, Illinois, and 7 international offices. Hugo is a Paul Harris Fellow, and he and his wife, Margarita, live in Evanston. But honestly, his real claim to fame is that he's a part-time resident here in Park City, Utah, and a favored guest of the Park City Noon Club, the Park City Sunrise Club, and hopefully in the future, the Park City Twilight Club. So, John, we're thrilled to have you with us, and thank you for being our keynote speaker.
Well, great. Thank you so much, John, for that very generous welcome. It's great to be with you this evening, albeit virtually. I was planning on coming out to the district conference as the president's representative, and of course, with the COVID crisis, that's not going to be possible. But again, thank you for having me here for this virtual meeting. Let me just, first of all, Scott Leckman, I understand it's your birthday today, so happy birthday. I saw that on the chat string that was going on, and so enjoy your birthday today. What I thought I would do is perhaps give you a global overview of sort of the state of Rotary, where we stand today, and where I see us headed in the future. Of course, the big challenge we're now facing is this COVID crisis, a tragedy for the world, for all of us. But back in January, it was very clear to me that based on what was happening in Asia, that this was not going to end well. And this wave of COVID was going to sweep the world and was going to obviously get to North America as well. And so in early January, we put together a COVID task force and took the month of January and February to get ready to what I was anticipating would be a quarantine, stay-at-home type of situation. As John mentioned, as one of my primary obligations and duties as your general secretary is to oversee the Rotary professional staff of almost 800. And so we sent everybody home for a day, did a trial run to see what it would be like to try to run Rotary virtually, and glad we did it. We were able to get a lot of the kinks out of the system. And then on March 12th, certainly well before anyone in Illinois generally, we went to full work at home status. And again, my primary goal was to make sure we could seamlessly move to this new reality, but also to really to ensure the safety and health of our employees, of our volunteers, of our Rotarians. We currently have 8 Rotary staff who've tested positive for the COVID virus, although all of them appear to have been infected well after the 2-week period after we went to work from home status on March 12th, so well past March 26th. So I think I'm very proud of the fact that we were able to do all we could to ensure the health of our professional staff, and it appears that no one actually contracted the virus thanks to working at Rotary. And so from an operational perspective, Rotary is very, very sound. The Secretariat is working at full capacity. We're very fortunate in that we can do this. In fact, the staff that's supporting your activities around the world is working in some ways more than ever, because a lot of our procedures, our processes, our trainings, et cetera, now need to be adapted to this new virtual reality, which is in some ways causing us, giving us more work than we normally would have had we had a normal situation. So I want to assure you that from a organizational perspective, we are sound. We continue to operate at full speed and to continue to support Rotarians around the world. Now, a lot of the questions I get when I participate in these sorts of events is, what's the view, at least from RI at the global level, in terms of what's going to happen to our membership? And that's a very fair question. And we need to kind of have a good sense of that as we plan our budgeting and our operations going forward. And so we're very fortunate at Rotary to have on staff a PhD statistician. And what I asked him to do was take a look at the last 115 years of Rotary's history and see what has been the impact on membership of all the crises and disasters that the world has faced since 1905. World War I, Spanish flu, Great Depression, World War II, the Great Recession we just came out of, 2008, 2009. And what was interesting is that, and he did a very sophisticated, mathematical modeling, and we only had 1 year in our history where we had a significant membership drop, and that was a 5% drop 2 years after the Great Depression ended. And all the other crises around the world that we faced through the last 115 years, we've seen membership drops of perhaps 1.5% during the Great Recession. The 2 years, 08, 09, we saw 0.5% of membership decline. And again, for every percent in membership decline, it's an $800,000 loss in revenue. And so even if we were to experience a 5% decline, which has only happened once in our history, that represents about $4 million worth of lost revenues. And Rotary has very, very strong reserves, almost $70 million. And so we have been very prudent with the way we've handled our finances. And I think we have a good cushion in place to weather a severe downturn. Now, looking outward, sort of running the mathematical models is what we would anticipate happening to membership. If you project out over the next 5 years, statistically, it's highly, highly improbable that we would have a decrease of even 5%. And the modeling is projecting, in the worst case, 95% probability would be in the would be less than 2 or 3%. So I want to assure you that organizationally we're strong, and financially we are on very solid footing. Of course, every crisis is different. We don't know what's going to happen globally with membership, and I'm sure we're going to see differences in different parts of the world. But I want to assure you that as we speak today, we are both organizationally and financially very, very strong. A lot of questions on what's Rotary doing to respond to the COVID crisis. And here I'd really like to thank the Rotarians in District 5420 and all the Rotarians around the world, because I've just been extraordinarily impressed with how Rotarians have rallied, have gotten on board, and have really taken this challenge of helping in this time of great need, have taken the bull by the horns, and have really delivered. From an RI global perspective, the trustees of the Rotary Foundation initially allocated $1 million to the COVID disaster response fund. They then topped it up with an additional $2 million. And every district, of course, has the ability to apply for a expedited district grant for up to $25,000 out of that fund for COVID-related activities. In addition to the original $3 million, we've since received contributions of an additional $1.5 million of DDF cash contributions from Rotarians around the world. And also, as you know, our convention, unfortunately, in Honolulu, the in-person convention was canceled, and we're giving everybody full refunds for their registration fees. But Rotarians did have the option to designate their refunds toward the COVID fund, and we've gotten a significant number of Rotarians who have done that. So we've moved about $4.5 million worth of these $25,000 grants out to the districts. In addition, we've received about $12 million worth of global grant applications or repurposing of existing global grants toward COVID. So we've, as an organization, moved close to $16 or $17 million in the course of two months with respect to this COVID thing. And I think that's something that all of us can be extremely proud of. And that doesn't even cover what clubs and districts are doing locally, the funds are raising locally, and designating directly to the COVID activities. A lot of questions on polio. What's going to happen to our polio effort in light of this crisis? And unfortunately, given social distancing norms that are now in place, the Global Polio Eradication Initiative, which is Rotary, CDC, UNICEF, the World Health Organization, Gates Foundation, and now I think Gavi has joined the GPI, made the determination to suspend the door-to-door vaccination campaigns because, again, of the social distancing norms that are in place. However, all of the other polio-related work, such as surveillance, monitoring, that is continuing. And what's very interesting is that we're now repurposing the polio infrastructure repurposing it for the COVID activities. And if you recall, several years ago in West Africa, when we had the Ebola outbreak, the polio infrastructure, particularly the emergency operations centers in Nigeria, were very effectively redeployed to help stop the spread of Ebola in Nigeria. So we are suspending the door-to-door activities. However, as Rotarians, we need to continue to raise money for polio. As you know, we have the 2-to-1 matching agreement with the Gates Foundation. For every $50 million that we raise and spend in a given year, we get a $100 million match from the Gates Foundation. And so we need to continue to raise money for polio to ensure that we maximize that match and that we're then able to continue in our fight to eradicate disease once the situation stabilizes. You know, it's interesting how, you know, we're going through some very difficult times now, and there's no question about it. But very often, you know, the tragedies often do have silver linings, and I think in the case of COVID, I do think that as terrible as the situation is, from Rotary's perspective, I do believe that there is a significant silver lining. This tragedy has forced Rotarians all around the world to adapt, to be innovative, to think differently. I know Judy walked us through the various issues that this district is confronting and how you're trying to sort of create a culture of innovation, thinking out of the box, etc. Well, we've been trying for a long time to get the Rotary world to take that on board. The Council in 2016, the Council on Legislation, adopted enactments that give tremendous flexibility now to clubs to fashion a product that is perhaps more appealing in the local marketplace. But it's been hard. Tradition is hard to overcome, and this COVID virus has really forced the issue. You know, necessity is the mother of invention and innovation. And so I view this as a potential watershed moment for our organization. Some of you may have heard at Rotary events, Michael McQueen, who is an Australian Rotarian, and he talks about how organizations pass through what he calls this relevance curve, where you early on in your organization's growth and development, you're rocketing up this curve, and then you plateau it a bit, and then you start heading down. And what he was indicating was Rotary was on the downslope of that relevance curve. And at least the way he sees it, that you reach a point on that curve where it's a point of no return. You're on the road to becoming Kodak. And the question is, how close to that point are we? I think this crisis and our reaction to it and our need to adapt and be innovative, I think will help ensure we don't hit that point of no return, and perhaps even begin taking us back up that relevance trajectory. You know, because at the end of the day, in my view at least, we're selling a product to the marketplace. And I'm not talking about soap. We're not soap. We're not a bleach. We're a experience. The club experience, the experience you get by joining a Rotary club, and you pay for that experience with your time and with your money, with your dues. And we're finding that in many parts of the world, particularly here in North America, people are either not buying our product, or when they do buy it, it's not what it was cracked up to be. You know, last year we had 150,000 people join Rotary. worldwide. We had 150,000 people leave Rotary. Our membership has been flat at 1.2 million for the last 25 years. North America, for the first time in our history, is less than 30% of overall worldwide membership. It started back in 1905 by definition as 100%, and we're down to 29%. And if the current membership trends continue, we're going to be down to 10 or 15% in the next 10 years. Half of Rotary will be in Asia. And that's great. The growth in Asia is phenomenal. It needs to continue, but we need to grow Rotary everywhere. And so I think this is an opportunity for us to be forced to think out of the box. Rotarians around the world are seeing that technology is not something to be afraid of. In some ways, we're more connected now than ever. This is my fifth such event today. And in each of the events, there's 200, 300, 400, 500 Rotarians. And the cost is zero. And I'm doing it from my office here in Chicago, although I'm pretending I'm back at my place in Park City, which is where I'd really like to be right now. And so this is an extraordinary opportunity. In some ways, we're more connected than ever. We're hearing anecdotally the clubs, we used to get 40, 50% of our members attend. Now we're getting 90% attendance because it's so easy. And people see that it is possible to have a productive and meaningful and fun meeting online. So I'm optimistic, and I'm optimistic that this will push us toward the path of really rethinking, particularly North America, where we need to do it. And I'm very pleased to see, Judy was presenting that this district has taken on board this issue of change, thoughtful change, meaningful change, in a way that hopefully will sort of stem that membership decline that you've been facing. It's also a great opportunity now to really bring our Rotaractors closer to Rotary. This is the last council made Rotaract clubs now members of the Association of Rotary Clubs. And 95% of Rotaractors do not become Rotarians. 5% do. And that's a huge pool of potential Rotarians we're losing. These are young men and women who love Rotary, the ideals of Rotary, but only 5% of them become Rotarians. And they live in this space. They thrive in this space. And so perhaps this is a great opportunity to really strengthen those bonds between Rotaract and Rotarians. And they will really help us with a lot of these creative solutions that we need in terms of making our product more attractive, more interesting in these difficult times. So let me just close on two additional points. I would suggest there's sort of five calls to action, tactical calls to action that I think we need to be thinking about as an organization at each club, at each district level. The first is member retention. As we think about what's going to happen to our membership, and again, we don't project a crisis, but you never know. Our statistical analysis, at least at a global level, also indicates that the longer one is in Rotary, the less likely it is you will leave. The really danger point in terms of our members leaving is between the second and third year of membership. That's where the vast majority of Rotarians leave the organization. So as we now enter into this new era, and we want to make sure that we're able to keep our membership strong and vibrant. It's really important to, at least at a global level, looking at the statistics broadly, and this may vary from country to country and district to district, it's really important to focus on those Rotarians which have been around just for 2 or 3 years. That's kind of the danger area in terms of people leaving. So we need to really make sure that we're engaging with all our members, but particularly those who are newer to Rotary. Second, projects. Our projects, by and large, require people getting together, doing stuff. Well, we can't get together and do stuff. Now, our challenge is, and this is where we need to unleash the creativity of our 1.2 million Rotarians, and hopefully with the help of our Rotaractors, okay, how are we going to do our projects, and what kind of projects can we now do in this new virtual environment? Now, Rotarians are stepping up. They're funding purchases of PPE and equipment, and they're using these the COVID grants to do a lot of good. But it's still largely a check writing exercise. It's buying stuff and getting somebody to ship it. We need to be creative about what's a Rotary project going to look like in this new world that we're living in. Third, same goes for fundraising. Our fundraising is formidable. We raised $400 million last year at the Rotary Foundation level, and that doesn't count what the clubs and districts are doing locally. In fact, as many of you know, we hired Johns Hopkins to try to quantify the annual value of Rotarians' volunteer hours in a given year, and that is $850 million. So we have $400 million coming into the Rotary Foundation. $850 million is the sort of the projected value of our volunteer hours. And then we asked Harvard University to help us sort of figure out what statistic, using whatever, methods, analysis that they did, how much are clubs and districts raising locally that does not pass through the Rotary Foundation? That was about 1.1 billion. So we are a 2.2 or $3 billion global organization. And so how are we going to continue fundraising when a lot of our fundraising is walkathons, bikeathons, bike rides, pancake days, $1 million dinners, things like that? Well, those are not going to be possible in today's world. So the third call to action is we need to put our thinking caps on in terms of the fundraising piece. Number 4, a lot of stories about clubs are vibrant, meeting more than ever. These sorts of meetings are happening all over the place. Rotarians, I'm getting a lot of stories about, I went to 20 club meetings. This 20 club meetings around the world this year. Yeah, I wanted to visit a club in Mumbai. I popped in to their meeting. I popped into a meeting in Buenos Aires. I mean, people are able to connect with Rotarians as never before. But I suspect there are also clubs that are struggling and not meeting, either because they haven't embraced the technology or they've kind of lost their mojo. And so if you're aware of a club in your district or a neighboring club that's struggling, that's not keeping its members engaged, that's having a tough time getting their hand around the new technology and the way we're operating on, we need to focus on those clubs, because if they go 3, 4, 5 months and not meet, that club will not survive. And finally, as something that I alluded to earlier, the sky's not falling as an organization. We are living in extraordinarily difficult times. The societies we live in are going through extraordinarily difficult times. But I think Rotary as an organization, I think we are in an excellent position. I mean, who knows what will happen? We can't predict the future. But based on what we know now and what we're seeing, we are in an extremely strong position. So let me just close with this last thought. The world needs Rotary now more than ever. If you really think about it, Rotary was built for moments like this. Deep roots in almost every community in the world. I know Devin's running for Congress. We'll have perhaps a Rotarian in Congress, one of many. But there's not one politician in the world that doesn't have a Rotarian as a constituent. We have an extraordinary, unmatched global platform. And for those of you that are hockey fans, and I'm a hockey fanatic, if you remember the Miracle on Ice movie, where Herb Brooks, the coach, right before our team went out to play the Soviets, this is our moment. I'm sure I'm paraphrasing. This is our moment. And I think the same holds true for Rotary. This is our moment. This is our moment to step up. This is our moment to deliver, because we have the tools, the capability, the will, the desire, and the ability to make that happen. So the world needs Rotary more than ever. It's our moment. And I want to thank all of you for being Rotarians and for doing what you are doing to help the world, to help Utah, to help your district, to help your communities, your towns, your families in this very, very difficult time. So again, John, thanks for having me. It's great to be here, albeit virtually, and I look forward to getting back to Park City and to Utah once the dust settles and we can get back to a semblance of a normal life. So thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Thanks very much. We did get 4 questions. You answered one. So if you have some brief thoughts on these, that'd be great. What do you think this year will be like for the Rotary Youth Exchange?
So that's a great question, and our position from a Rotary International perspective is that these are district to district, club to club exchanges, and it's really going to be it's going to be guided by local situations, local norms, and local safety and health directives. And so I suspect there'll be a significant decrease in youth exchange. I suspect I'd be shocked if it weren't, but I suspect it'll be different from different parts of the world, depending on the situation. But I can't see it not being impacted negatively, at least until we have a vaccine or a cure for this disease.
Actually, we've got a couple more questions, so we'll zip through these. As Rotary develop guidelines about when and how to hold in-person club meetings, how can we approach returning to in-person meetings in a sensitive fashion?
Yeah, again,
Hi, Diana.
the Rotary National Board, which met
How are
several.
you?
Evan, you'll need to mute your phone there.
Good. Should we get you logged in?
Devin, can you mute, please?
So the Rotary National Board took the decision that all RI board meetings, committee meetings, etc., will be virtual through the end of this calendar year, and the TRF trustees, I believe, will be operating in a similar mode. The convention, of course, was canceled, and we're now putting together a virtual convention, which I hope all of you will be able to. I would urge all of you and hope that as many of you as possible can attend and participate in our virtual convention. We're kind of the guinea pigs for that kind of thing, putting together a huge event, trying to do it virtually, and we'll see. Like Wayne Gretzky says, you got to shoot. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So we'll see what happens, and hopefully it'll turn out to be a great event. In terms of clubs, districts opening up, it's really being left up to each district and club to determine what is reasonable and safe based on their local circumstances. I mean, it's very difficult to provide one size fits all. Other than whatever you do, make sure you're social distancing, people wearing masks, that you're doing what the health professionals are sort of suggesting and urging everybody to do. But clubs are not prohibited from meeting in person. We are encouraging district conferences to be held virtually, to the extent they're not being able to, and all other events, governors to do their visits virtually if in person, of course, meetings aren't possible.
I'm gonna just give you one more here so we can continue on. I apologize to those who didn't get their questions answered. Is there a listing or an app to know what clubs are meeting when globally, and if guest Rotarians are invited?
I don't know the answer to the question. I did raise the issue, and I've got our team looking at what more can we do from the international level to help facilitate awareness and ease of finding out when clubs are meeting and how one gets in. But I'm not aware of we've not come out with a specific app for that yet.
Okay. Well, John, thank you again for talking with us, and what a great message that this really is Rotary's moment to step up and make things happen. Thank you.
Again, thanks for having me, and all the best, and I hope to see as many of you in person as possible in the not too distant future. Thank you for having me.
So we're going to move on to some more awards here. And a couple years ago, the district gave out an Unsung Hero Award. And so I wanted to bring that back this year and give out the Utah Rotary Unsung Hero Award. And this year it is actually going to go to a 5-member committee. The award goes to the Rotary Youth Exchange Committee, Chair Penny Atkinson, and committee members Aaron Lowe, Derek Loyola, Karin Holmes, and Glenn Artist. So I just have to give a huge shout out to this group for the work they've done, the incredibly hard and additional work they've done during the COVID crisis to get our Utah students back home and the international students here back to their homes in other countries. It took a lot of extra effort, a lot of extra emotional effort, and cars and buses and trains and planes and probably boats to make that happen. So thank you very much, Penny and your committee. Also get to give out, yes, claps, kudos. Also get to give out some bigger awards tonight. First one we're going to do is our Utah Rotarian of the Year. And I am going to see if I can handle this. Oh, Linda, you're sharing your screen. Could you take that down, please? Thank you. So I apologize to those who are on the phone only because I have a very well done video by one of our Rotarians to highlight this Utah Rotarian of the Year. Can you see my screen? Judy, could you answer it? Can you see this screen? Is it sharing right now? I'm not hearing anything. Can't see my screen. All right, let me try this again. Molly, if you are in the house, will you come down for some technical support? That is my high-tech Rotaractor. Let's see if I can try this again.
I know that feeling, John.
All right, honey, help me out here. Oh, I didn't hit share. That was the problem. Duh. All right, she fixed it. Here we go. For those of you who are unable to see the video, our Utah Rotarian of the Year is Jose Velasco, well deserving of this award. His daughter Stephanie put together this video of photos for Jose. And while we look at these photos, let me just tell you a few things about Jose. In the past, in 2015, Jose was the District Conference Puerto Penasco Spanish Liaison and Master of Ceremonies. He has been the lead for the annual Operation Santa project in Salt Lake City and was the lead organizer for the Guinness World Record Rotary logo at the 2016 Zone Conference in Salt Lake. He organized a large Rotaract conference at Westminster several years ago and has been engaged at many Zone and Rotaract conferences over the years. This year, Jose has served as an assistant district governor. He was very involved in our Rotary District participation in the UN conference in Salt Lake last summer. And he undertook a massive job this year to chair the first ever Pan American Rotaract convention in Puerto Penasco that would have been held just a few weeks ago, but had to be canceled, of course, because of the COVID pandemic. So kudos and props to you, Jose, for being such an outstanding Rotarian in our district and in our zone and internationally. And you've just done a remarkable job. So it gives me great pleasure to give you this award as Utah's Rotarian of the Year. And Linda, if you could share those lists in the chat room like Dwayne did, that would be great. We'll give everybody a list of the other Utah Rotarians from the past. who've won this award. Okay, congratulations to Jose. Can't hear everyone clapping, but you're getting a lot of applause right now.
I know my phone is blowing up over here.
That's great.
Thank you. Thank you. Very, very humbled to receive this, especially in the company of all of you in the panel. And beyond that, all the other mentors and Rotarians that I have worked with. It's just amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. I think that there's many more that deserve it, more than myself, but really appreciate this. This is a distinguished honor. Thank you.
Well, the money helped, Jose, so I appreciate it.
I know, huh?
Okay, next up is our Service Above Self Award. And this is an award that up to 150 Rotarians throughout the world might get each year. And our district has done well with this over the years. And this year is no exception. We had an outstanding nominee, and he was selected by the Rotary International Board of Directors to receive this award. And I'm going to try to do a better job of queuing this up. And you will see quickly who the winner is. Okay. So Dean Jackson is our Service Above Self Award winner this year. Dean started his Rotary career, I believe, at 18 or very soon thereafter at the Jackson Hole Rotary Club until he moved to Utah, where he joined the Provo Rotary Club. He's done so many things in Rotary and in the community. It's really hard to list them all, and I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna give you a few choice things. Dean has been chairman of the Group Study Exchange Program for our district. He was district governor of our district in 2007, 2008. He was administrative assistant for the host organizing committee for the Rotary International Convention here in Salt Lake in 2007. He co-chaired starting the Rotaract Club at BYU. He's chaired the Zone Cowboy Breakfast at the Los Angeles International Convention, led the District Friendship Exchange in Japan in 2018-19, has worked with districts from Japan on youth exchanges and ambassadorial scholarships. He's been a district trainer for multiple years, a zone district trainer and facilitator. He's been a RILA speaker for over 10 years, RILA facilitator. He's been our district representative to the Council of Legislation. He was the first ever president's representative who was non-native to be tasked to attend a district conference in Japan on behalf of the Rotary International President, Sakuji Tanaka. He's been chair of our district finance committee, nominating committee, selection committee, and he's done multiple humanitarian projects and grants in a variety of countries, including Mexico, Peru, Ghana, and Nigeria. And I have to tell you, I've been on a couple of those humanitarian trips with Dean, and I'll just flip through some of these pictures while I tell you that. And I have to tell you, the best thing about Dean and his humanitarian spirit on these trips in foreign countries is that he can really lift a lot of stuff. He lifts a lot of heavy stuff, so that's great. So Dean, you are truly a mentor of mine and an incredible Rotarian, not just for our district, but throughout the world. So thanks to you for all you've done, and congratulations on winning this Service Above Self Award.
Well, thank you so much. It's a tremendous honor, but I do have to say that it would be easy to sit here and say, yeah, I did all that, but it's not me. My wife is the reason I'm able to do this. And there's just no question. Every time I'm gone somewhere, she has enabled me and has supported me in ways that I can't even begin to tell you. And Marlis is the reason that I'm able to do the things that I do. And she's sacrificed a lot. You know, there's always a silver lining to things. This will be the first time that we've been together. May 31st is our 35th wedding anniversary. And it's been years since we've been together because I'm always tied up with something related to Rotary or the convention right around that time. So while COVID's a really bad thing internationally for my marriage, it's a really positive thing that I'm going to be home with her for my anniversary. But it's a great honor, and thank you so much.
Very well deserved, Dean. Okay. So next, I get to do something unique in the history of our Utah Rotary District, and that is I get to give out an award from the Rotary Foundation to one of our Rotarians. It is the Regional Award to End Polio Now. This award was given out to only 56 Rotarians throughout the world this year. And that's pretty remarkable that we have somebody right here in our district who is getting this. So let me cue this up. And I will tell you who our winner is. So Scott Leckman is a general surgeon. And of course, you know, he is our immediate past governor and current district foundation committee chair. Scott led a group study exchange team to India in 2008. While he was there, he formed relationships that have allowed many great Rotary projects and programs between our district and several districts in India for the past 11 years. In 2009, Scott led a team of Utah Rotarians to India to help with National Immunization Days. He's led a similar team of Rotarians from our district every year since, except for 2018 when he served as our district governor. Each annual team engaged in multiple National Immunization Days in India. Scott additionally served as our District Polio Plus Committee Chair from 2010 through 2018. As our Polio Plus Chair, Scott was constantly advocating for Polio Plus contributions and direct engagement throughout our district. He's also been the lead on numerous global grants with districts in India. He organized and led a polio awareness campaign in the public schools of Salt Lake City the year our district hosted the Rotary International Convention on short notice in 2007. He's been actively advocating for polio awareness and support in schools, medical groups, Rotary districts, and elsewhere since at least 2007. This year, Scott has taken over as District Foundation Committee Chair and immediately organized a District Foundation Committee for World Polio Day in our district, again to raise funds for End Polio Now. Scott has been a tireless advocate for the eradication of polio and the education of Rotarians and non-Rotarians about the disease and efforts to eradicate it forever. And that was signed by Scott's mom. So Scott, congratulations on winning this incredibly prestigious award. And you also are a Rotarian hero and mentor to me and so many more.
Thank you, Governor, very much. You know, it's Rotary. You know, I get more out of it than I put into it, and I think most of us can say that it's just been all fun, and I've just gotten to meet so many amazing people. I appreciate the acknowledgement. Thank you, Governor.
You're very welcome, Scott. And it wasn't me, it was the Rotary Foundation Board of Trustees. So, you know, I would never have given you that, but they love you there. I wanted to mention this earlier, and I'll do it now. I wanted to let you know that we currently have 10 clubs who have already achieved the Rotary Citation. We have many, many other clubs who are really just one or two criteria away from achieving it. So I hope you all go to our Utah Rotary website and look at the brochure there, the citation, and the step-by-step guideline on how to achieve it. The 10 clubs so far, and you have to win this award, the Rotary Citation, to be in the running for the Utah Rotary Club of the Year, which will be announced at Linda's installation dinner in late June. Our 10 clubs are Brigham City, Hispano Latinos of Salt Lake City, Holiday, Mid-Valley, Ogden, Park City Twilight, Red Rock, St. George, and Vernal. So congratulations to those clubs. It's a great honor for your clubs and your members, and I am sure we're going to at least double that number by the end of the year. So we're going to hear next from District Governor-elect Linda, and then after that, I'll be announcing our District Governor nominee, and we'll be adjourning after that. So let me introduce to you a wonderful woman, a wonderful Rotarian, a wonderful person, Linda Sappington, who will be taking over as District Governor July 1.
Good evening, and thank you, Governor John, for allowing me to take a few minutes during this historic, first one-of-a-kind virtual district conference. As many of you are aware, I am all about public image. Effective and regular public image efforts serve two purposes. First is the opportunity to tell our Rotary story in a variety of ways through electronic and social media. But secondly, and perhaps every bit as important, public image is a way to recognize Rotarians and Rotary clubs who will contribute their time and talents for the greater good of the community with no expectation of reward. For the 16 years I directed the 5-county volunteer center network, we worked very hard to make sure that organization was well known in our communities. Nearly every week, we found ways to tell the stories of our organization and the many selfless individuals who served in just about every event and nonprofit organization in Southwest Utah. But often, some of our more than 2,000 men, women, and teens were hesitant to put their name and face out to the public. Some even flatly refused until I reminded the stories were more about our organization and the importance of volunteering than about them individually. In a memorable discussion with one of my favorite and most active senior volunteers, I learned a valuable public lesson when, in sharing my struggle, getting people to let us share their stories, he said, "Don't let them kid you. We all like having our name up in lights." I never forget comment, and I encourage Rotary Club leaders to remember it too. Volunteers are notorious for giving and giving in so many ways. So it's a small reward when, as Pat Sapio said, they get their name up in lights. Tonight, some amazing Rotarians and Rotary clubs have been recognized for service above self. If those who are taking home a trophy or a plaque for their hard work and selfless efforts are members of your club, don't have the opportunity to pat them on the head, sing their praises, and tell their stories in the media, social or otherwise. Congratulations to District Governor John Hanrahan for his amazing but challenging year. John, now that you are insanely famous, don't forget, we all adored you first. To all of you who will be recognized, or who have been recognized, celebrated, and honored in tonight's virtual district conference, also don't forget that person who invited you to join our amazing organization when he or she said, "Hey, you should be a Rotarian." Finally, let's continue to tell the story of how Rotary does in the world. And in those stories, let's not forget to invite others to join us, because as we are reminded by RI President-elect Holger Knack in his 2020-21 theme, really opens opportunities. There is so much yet to do in our communities, the state, and the world, and so much more to celebrate. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Linda. I have to say, I'm really looking forward to your year. I'm really, really, really looking forward to your year. 46 days from now, actually.
But who's counting, right?
No, you're going to do phenomenally well.
Oh,
So,
thank you. Fingers crossed.
our last announcement to make. First, I'll preface it by thanking all of you who attended our business meeting last night. We got some necessary changes to our manual procedure done, and our clubs caucused and selected 5 members to represent the district on the selection committee, along with our 3 immediate past governors, Scott Leckman, Bev Christie, and Sean Mitchell. And the selection committee met today and interviewed the candidates for district governor nominee. And I'm really excited to announce that your district governor nominee next year for 2022-2023 is Jose Velasco from the Mid-Valley Club. Congratulations, Jose. You're double dipping here tonight as the nominee and the Utah Rotarian of the Year. But congratulations. We really look forward to you taking part in the leadership of our district.
Thank you, John, and thank you to everybody, especially, I cannot say a name specifically. I think I have to say thank you to everyone that has been a mentor. I truly look forward to see what we do and where we go in this or after this situation that we're living in. But like John said, after everything, there is always a silver lining. So, all I can say is I look forward to be working with every club in the district, every Rotarian friend that I have, met, and for those that I have to meet. I look forward to working with, the diversity, the equity, and the inclusion that this district has, and to be able to offer, leadership, and especially the friendship that we are characterized with. I think, John, second your words that this is a time that we need to be together, that we need to, more than ever, demonstrate what Rotary is and who we are, and I've seen the history of this country, even though I was not born here. But I think that at the end of it all, every war, every disaster, we come forward, we get ahead, and we have to keep with our forehead, high and shining. So thank you, and I look forward to be serving alongside all of you.
Thank you, Jose, and congratulations again. So in closing, I just want to thank Devin Thorpe for organizing and hosting and being our tech guru tonight. Thanks very much, Devin.
I think I owe everyone an apology for all the many problems I created, but it was an honor to try to help.
You did great. We appreciate you. Also, of course, thanks to John Huco for speaking so eloquently and really for the message. I don't think anyone could say it better. This is really Rotary's time to shine, to step up. This is Rotary's moment for all the reasons you elaborated. So thank you for that message. And it's one I think we should all bring back to our communities. And I want to thank all of you here tonight for being such engaged Rotarians and for all the work you're doing in your communities, especially since this COVID pandemic started. The amount of clubs and Rotarians making masks, face masks, and making face shields and creating food drives for people in desperate need. And the many projects you're doing are truly just remarkable. And it makes me really proud to be a Rotarian and your district governor this year. So thank you for all you're doing. Let's keep it up. Let's step it up. Let's do even more good in our community and in Utah as a whole. So thanks again, and we are adjourned.